I'm Ranjhana and welcome to Zoom's Happy Space. Today I'll be chatting with an actor who's made his own path and usually not followed the norms, and that's supposed to be a really good thing. I'm of course talking about Abhay Deol. Abhay, I meant every word that I said. I think it's
thank you.
being yourself in the entertainment industry, being yourself in general, I think people find it difficult. I remember this post that you put about Ranjhana, and Ranjhana is your film, but you are honest enough and you are aware enough to know that today why the film will not be looked at kindly because of the normalization of stalking and of harassment. But I don't know too many people who would have done that to their own film and analyzed themselves so critically. Tell me why that is important for you, specifically to this context.
To this context, this movie? Or just in general?
Otherwise,
If you need to grow, whether it be professionally or personally, you have to be objective. Growth doesn't come from being subjective all the time. You know, life is about striking a balance. There's time to be subjective and push what you believe in, and there's a time to be objective to question what you believe in. Ranjhana in particular, I always spoke to Anand, even while making the movie. I was like, I have a problem with this, But I just stuck to the fact that, okay, you know, she gets the guy killed in the end, you know. And of course, Anand himself wasn't coming from that space either, right? He also was showing that, look, I don't endorse this behavior. And that's why in the end, he doesn't succeed. But so I went with that. But then it's the formula that gets in the way. You have to treat a hero like a hero. And in that process, it was glamorized. And that's all that was my issue. It's like, don't glamorize it. Show him for the wretched creature that he is. Because if you glamorize it, every other guy who watches this is going to think he's Ranjhana and harass the girls, thinking, oh, this is the way you love them. And Bollywood has done this. It's not just Ranjhana. It's
ages.
Yeah, you know, like you pursue the girl until she relents. You know, she falls in love with you, like magically speaking. So, in fact, there was a case in Australia, I believe, where the guy actually won. He was stalking a girl, and then he was taken to court. And then he told the courts that I learned this from Bollywood, and he won. Because I guess they must have looked at all the movies from decades and realized, oh, this is the conditioning. Like, if a girl, no doesn't necessarily mean no. Pursue until she says yes. So, this was something on my mind as far as Ranjhana was concerned. But it's hard to speak up because you don't want to be perceived as arrogant or perceived as someone because then it's like, oh, why did you do it then? And it's like, I'm sorry, there's, you know, people, it's you're only human, you make mistakes. B, you know, it's a movie. You're not the only one making that film. And like I said, you know, on paper at least, she gets her revenge and gets the guy killed. So I went with that. But I'm not the director, you know. I wasn't seeing how it's going to be executed. Because you could take that same story and turn it around on its head. But then you have to take the songs out of it. You have to take the romanticizing of Kundan's character out of it. And show him for the creep that he is. You know, even if he goes to get redemption, she doesn't forgive him. So the same story can be a whole different movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So... So it's important to call that out and speak about it. And I didn't say anything because I was like, okay, this is come and gone now. And then on the top of that, express what I feel. And it's important to reflect. We all make mistakes. It's okay. You know, and it's important to call out your own mistakes. So other people also feel like, all right, I don't have to be so hard on myself. I don't have to be perfect.
No, but thank you for doing that, Abhay, I must say. It's an important conversation to have, you know. It's you always told it's easier to be silent and you know, they say it's a safer way to go, but you've never played it safe, have you? Which is what is coming to my next thing. Even with Jail 50, okay, you wait for the kind of films that you would want to do, and not just do films because you want to be there, to be in the mind of people and just like earn money. You know, you've been called rebel without a cause. Your directors have told you that, oh, you know, he's arrogant, there's an angst in him when you were younger. And maybe there was a little, I know you said that you were angry with the system. But today, when all that years and you reflect back and you come with Jail 50, you know, and you know, it's got a lot of love. My question was, can you self-reflect and tell me how that was for you? What you went through it?
Well, you know, it's as you said, there was a lot of angst, there was a lot of anger because you're younger. It's hard to process things, especially when you know you're on the right side of history. And so and then your work is actually being appreciated and accepted. So then you feel vindicated, but still there is no relent. People are not opening up. By people, I mean the industry. I don't mean the public. It's the public embraced it. But the industry didn't. And so, you're not experienced or mature enough to deal with the situation. And that's where I was. And then directors too that you work with, they are individuals by themselves, and then they define you in the way they see you. And, they're half right, half wrong. They label you, they tag you, and you're a process. You're not a person, a being. A human being is a process. It's not a stagnant pool. It's a river. And so definitions are what people want to put on you so they can feel safe, that they understand you. And so that limits you again. And you start to believe what they say about you. So even with the well-meaning and the well-intentioned ones. Then you have people with agendas as well. That was the cause for anger. Even directors I worked with, one of them went publicly, tried to smear me and stuff like that, because that's what they do. And that's their insecurity. So you have to deal with that as well while you're finding your own. I think that as I said, you're a process. By you, I mean me and you and the people watching this. And that's what I can say about it. Upon reflection is embrace your mistakes, because that is calling them out. And that's the beginning of overcoming those. Look at the criticism objectively. Remove the people who put the tags on you, and just look at the tags themselves. Remove the people who are smearing you and look at the smears themselves. You remove their biases. And then what's left is your conduct, if that makes any sense. And then you reflect upon your conduct and see where did that conduct come from. So I was always wondering, why do people say I'm arrogant? I'm the least arrogant person on this planet. Is standing by my guns arrogance? And in a way it is. When nobody else is doing it, you're the only one, and you expect people to follow you. That's arrogance. Even if you're on the right side of history. It's sad, because I feel vindicated today with everything going on. With the OTT platforms coming in, it's allowed other artists. And I stood by new talent all the time. I took chances with new directors all the time. Nobody was doing that when I was making Oi Lucky, Dev D and the stuff like that. After Dev D, I don't know how many new directors got a break. So there's this industry that's so closed. It's groupist, it's cliquish. You have to join a group, and then they shape and hone you. And that is why it never changes, because it's being shaped by the people who own or were the leaders of the individual cliques. And I didn't want to be a part of any of them, and then so you find yourself alone. But I thought I'd rather be alone and try and fail than be a part of a clique and be successful, because now I'm shaped by somebody else. I'm not a puppet.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it takes courage to do that. I think I applaud you for that.
Courage came also because of privilege. So I'm a man in a country like India. I come from a good family who are pretty well established. So even though I've been and also the thing is, if you ask my family, I was rebelling against them too as a kid. rebelling against them too. I would be like, why this? Why that? Why do I have to do that? Why is this like that? Why is that like this? So I just extended that further to the industry. And I think they were having a laugh, because they're like, thank God now you all deal with him.
I saw the trailer of Jail 50. One thing that stuck to me was that you're known to be someone who enjoys playing flawed characters, which are more real, right? This character was more idealistic. I'm not saying you don't play idealistic characters, but I'm saying that he seemed more perfect.
I've never had this idealistic hero character in my head that I wanted to portray, which is what the formula of Bollywood is, it's always near perfection. As far as the JL 50 character is concerned, he's a detective on the hunt to solve a mystery.
Sure.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that he's not flawed, but the plot is so heavy upon finding out what happened to this aircraft, why has it crashed 35 years later, where did it come from, where was it all this time, that there's no time to invest in whether he's a black, white or grey character.
It's more about the story.
It's the plot, yeah, and he's taking you through this plot. He's your central character who's taking you through this mystery. But if someone is trying to insult you or get aggressive with you, I find that really funny. Because
you find that funny?
oh, it's hilarious. Like I'm. You can troll me all you want. Like it's not going to make a difference to me, unless you're, of course, enlightening me. And I'm always open to criticism.
Sure.
But when you get aggressive or abusive, it makes me laugh.
You had now you have JL50 as well. That I'm sure is going to come in a lot of list of recommendations of people. If you had to recommend few things that they could watch, for a happy time to just like have fun, what would you recommend?
I mean, I haven't been watching anything through this lockdown, ironically.
No?
The only thing I watched was Dark, which is not a happy time. It's quite a depressing show. Time travel, I mean, then I can only recommend you the classics that I grew up on. Like for time travel, the first thing that comes to my mind is Back to the Future. I don't know how much. I mean, for me, I can watch that anytime. I can recommend some of the older classics, the Indiana Jones series. And the 80s was fun. I watched anything new. I happened to watch on the flight. I saw, what was it called? The film with Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, Margot Robbie. What was that? On Fox News. What was it? I forget the name. That was a really good film. I enjoyed that. That's something new that I saw. I saw Wonder Woman only now, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
How good is it?
That was kind of fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But I saw all this now. I've not been watching anything, to be honest with you.
Really? I mean, that's amazing, I think. But you also read a lot, right? You also read.
I've been reading, I've been painting, I've been drawing, I've been writing. I directed a short movie, which is in post-production right now. I'm putting up a retreat in Goa. So I have a lot so I've been putting my energies into a lot of these things.
I was talking about happy spaces. If I say, what's your happy space? Will you talk about the retreat? If I say, what's literally your happy space?
I would say painting.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Lately, it changes.
But you spoke about the retreat, and I'm like, it's also amazing because it also helps in the self-discovery process, right? With the meditation and everything else. Did that help you become calmer? Because I feel like, I don't know, there is this calm about the Zen mode that you're in. Does that?
But it wasn't. I don't think it's necessarily meditation that got me into the Zen mode. And it's funny you say that because I've been saying that myself for the past couple of months. I think it's. I don't have any regrets as such. Maybe a few, but nothing major. And then I can see the privileges I've had. I can see the disadvantages and the tragedies that are unfolding around me with other people. And so I think that's what's brought me into this calmer space. And then that's what's extending itself and having me open a retreat or paint and the stuff like that. Those things aren't bringing me into a Zen mode. The Zen mode, finding my space, came in accepting where I am, who I am.
Something that you read about yourself during this pandemic that you thought was hilarious?
I don't really read too much about myself. I'll read an interview I gave, but I don't really read about myself. There'll always be a comment or two on your page that's fun. Sometimes it's what I laugh most is when it doesn't happen a lot, but if someone is trying to insult you or get aggressive with you, I find that really funny. Because
you find that funny?
Oh, it's hilarious. Like I'm. You can troll me all you want. Like it's not going to make a difference to me. And luckily, I don't get that much trolling. But if I share an opinion, anyways, you put yourself out there when you're sharing an opinion, then everybody has if someone has a counter opinion to it, it just makes me laugh. Like, unless you're, of course, enlightening me, and I'm always open to criticism.
Sure.
But when you get aggressive or abusive, it makes me laugh.
This is all the Zen mode talking, Abhay. That's what you have to reach there. That's where you are. So I'm going to probably... Yeah.
I think as a man, it's easier. When women get trolled, it's a lot more horrible. But as a man, you can deal with it better, I suppose. Yeah.
When you go out there, if you had to pick a place that you'd want to go, hang out with your friends or go out for a date, what would you pick? What would you do?
If it was the end of the world?
No. When the world really opened up back again.
Oh.
When probably with the vaccine, I don't know, when it's safer to go out there with all the... What would you pick? Where would you go? What would you do?
Honestly, through the pandemic, Goa was the best place to be, and I really liked it. Um, I'm out of the country now already. Um, there's no particular place. I just want to get back to work. Like I want to be on a
Yeah,
set
like
again.
on the set.
So wherever that is, it was the toughest way to shoot because every 2 minutes it was like action, cut. Just give the award to the one you think who's the biggest star. But don't demote me and Farhan. Glamorized taking drugs and alcohol more than showing you how how degrading it is.
So a fun game of pictures, Abhay. We've been in the pandemic for a long time here. Like out here, we've not gone out. We've been in our PJs. So just a reminder of how the world was once through the pictures that you. So I picked out a few pictures, taking you back. I'll show you one picture. All you need to do is tell me the story behind that picture,
Okay.
and probably why the caption that you put up. All right, that's all it is.
Okay.
The first picture that I want to show you is reflective of this.
Oh, the strongest memory about that picture I can say that was the climax, close to the climax, where I admit to my friends that I didn't actually propose marriage to her. And then it goes into flashback. And what I remember is there were clouds that day we were shooting. So, when you're shooting and a cloud comes in halfway through a shot, you have to cut, wait for the cloud to go because the light changes. And you start again. And this was that moment where he admits to his friends the truth of what had happened. And it was the toughest way to shoot because every 2 minutes it was like action, cut, cloud. Wait 2 minutes. Action, cut, cloud. Because they were just like these balls of fluffs of clouds, and it was just the worst kind of thing that could happen in the sky at that time. So I remember that. The caption is just because I suppose people are now more vocal. I've been pretty vocal about the practices within Bollywood, since the beginning of my career. When we need to unite, and I think a lot more actors are feeling empowered today because of the OTT platforms, and they're not beholden to the 3 or 4 cliques that run the industry. Who define and decide your fate. They don't have your fate in their hands anymore. You cannot. Why should we put Farhan and Abhay in the same category as Ritik and Katrina because they're bigger stars? It's like it doesn't make sense. The plot of the film is about three friends on a journey, and they would so shamelessly go out there and do it. And I didn't say anything at the time it came out. I kept quiet, right? I was like, forget it, whatever. I just won't go. Because by then I was like, it's done. Even by Zindagi, that was my 10th movie. I'd done and said so much already that I felt like I'm just going to be the only one out screaming, and I'm just going to look like bitter or cynical or something. So forget it. So, but this was just shameless. It was shocking. It was out there, and it was just so blatant. Like, we don't care what people have to say. We can do this because we can. And that sort of attitude, that cavalier, cocky attitude needed to go. And now they'll be more careful because I'm not saying they'll necessarily change, but they'll be careful. Just give the award to the one you think who's the biggest star. But don't demote me and Farhan.
Second picture being Abhay.
That was my time in New York. And that was the hat I used to wear every day.
Every day?
Yeah, almost. I could never pass that off in Bombay and be taken seriously. I had a very negative view of fame because growing up in a film family and then reading about your family in the papers, being asked personal questions and being judged for who you are and where you come from because all the students in school think they know you from what they've read about your family, just left a bad taste in my mouth. Then watching my uncle, my cousins and all go through their you could see fame as something that's very fickle. It comes and goes. And so I knew Dev D was going to hit and I knew it was going to be a huge hit. Like I just knew it. And so I think it kind of instilled all that fear I had as a child, and my association with fame came up really strong. And I think that's what made me run away, Also conceptually speaking, the film was something I'd conceived, and I felt it again, I felt it glamorized taking drugs and alcohol more than showing you how how degrading it is. My concept was to show how degrading it is to be an addict, but also to empower the women and to show that they're much powerful characters than this character we romanticized for so long. And I think part of my angst was that was lost in Anurag's version. So I think I was also slightly. I knew it was a good film. I don't deny that. The music was brilliant. It was beautifully shot and directed. All of that.
I think you look really happy here, Abhay. It's also, I think this is more you. This is how you dress also in real life. It talks about how you always spoken up. It describes what you are as a person, being a fitness enthusiast or an eco warrior. And I think the photo goes perfectly with it. Tell me the memory behind the photo and of course the caption that this.
Well, this was that bike, the cycle I got, Be Live. It's a really good company. They have these cycles which have an electric motor attached to them. And so you can cycle, put that motor off or put that motor on if you are tired. And it's a great way to go around anywhere you are. Like this is in Goa. But it's a great cycle to have in cities where if you want to reduce your carbon footprint, So it was more to do with the cycle than anything else. And so if you're a fitness person and you're also conscious of the carbon footprint you leave behind, that was the idea behind that picture.
Fair enough. I think, like I said, we'll end on this very happy note. This is how I see you. And I hope you've been. I hope that's how you've been during the this entire time as well. It's so good talking to you.
Thanks.
Like I said, GL50 looks really interesting, and
Thanks.
We're definitely going to catch it. Thank you, Abhay, for chatting with us.
Thank you. Take care.